everybody. My name is Infamous Isaac, and I'm here with another review for Made in Abyss. But this time, I'm talking about movie three. Yeah, I don't even remember the name of the movie. I, all I know is that it's movie three. So, which is gonna go look already, but it's whatever. It's movie three. Basically, that's all you need to know. And this movie continues off of season one and movies one and two, which again, season one and movies one and two are the same thing because the movies, the first two are recaps of season one. So you're not missing out on anything if you missed the movies or if you missed season one. Like maybe just like a little bit of extra stuff in the season and like two extra scenes in the movies. So you're not missing out on much. But movie three is where the new stuff comes in. This is where we continue off of the fourth layer and we go into the fifth one. And movie three is the entirety of the fifth layer. So we're going to be spending the majority of our time here, if not all of the time here. So, without further ado, let me get right into it. So, we start off with them going into the fifth layer. We get reintroduced to Nanachi, Reg, and Riko. And we just seeing them progress through the fifth layer and they get to the flower field that we've heard so much about from Reg and Rico. How Liza, Rico's mom, used to love being here, her favorite place, and how Reg has memories of this place. So they get there and they see one of Bondred's Bondred Bondred, whatever his name is. Like, and I saw his name, so I know it now, but I just don't still don't know how to pronounce it. But you see one of his people there, one of his scientists, and he's just going around the flower field. And Reg goes over to look at him because they need to see if he's friend or foe. And they realize he's here to exterminate insects, like uh, invasive insects that are here to uh, get any cave raiders and inhabit them. They're basically parasitic, and there's like or not hundreds, but like tens of corpses everywhere of all cave raiders, and they're all infected with the insect. And so the guy is here to burn it all, and so he burns the whole field to kill all the insects. And him and Reg are talking and all that, and they learn more about Bone Dread, or at least like why they're here in the field, but not much of why they're here. Period. And Reg moves away from the guy. I forgot his name, the scientist, but he he also gives him the Blaze Reap. The scientist gives it to him because they found it from the fourth layer. They found it there and they gave it back to him. And they're not hostile at all. They're actually inviting them to the fifth layer's like base of operations where Bondred the White Whistle is there. And Ozen warned us about him way before, like in the first movie and in season one, like episode like around like 1 through 8. So we've heard about this guy for a long time. And we actually go there. We go there after um, that whole burning of the field thing, raising the fields, and we meet one of the main characters of this movie. Well, Prushka. There you go, Prushka. And it's something like Flower Dawn or whatever I think is her name, like what it means. And we meet her. She tells us that her father wanted us to introduce to her and all of them. And we get along with her. We meet her father. Oh, Nanachi meets him again, but for the other two main characters, this is their first introduction. He basically welcomes them. He introduces them to their room, and they stay there for a little bit. Prushka is really interested in what's going on because like these are surface dwellers, or at least one of them is a surface dweller. The other one was a surface dweller, but she was sent here and then she lived in the abyss for the rest of her life. And another one, from what we presume, is from the netherworld. So that's basically it. But Prushka's really interested in it because she was born in the abyss. So she's never seen the surface. She never even been outside of layer 5 because of the strain they would put on you. So she's hearing all these stories from Riko about like layer 2 and all that, layer 3, the surface, everything. Like she's hearing all about that. She's never seen a Dom before. because the sun doesn't go that far down, and it has its own like climate in the abyss, so it's all different. But they're hearing all these stories. Prushka leaves. They all go to bed. Riko's the first one to knock out. Reg and what's her name, Nanachi, are talking and all that, and they're just having a conversation. It's late night. Uh, what's her face? Nanachi leaves to she just gets interested and starts exploring again. And then later on, Riko leaves, but she notices that Reg isn't here, so she starts exploring. And one of the areas was a staircase that was warded off because the ascension will affect you, and you will get hit with the five or layer five, like a ascension curse. There you go, the curse that comes with layer five. So it's dangerous, but she has no other way to go through it, so she goes up the stairs, and she almost dies. She legit almost dies. The curse is mental and all that, and it starts affecting her. Like it legit started cutting her up, and her mental was getting messed up. Her molars started cracking and all that, and they got all messed up. And she falls down the stairs, and then Prushka finds her, and she's like, "Oh shoot, yo, are you okay? Like, did you try to climb the stairs?" And she's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, I'll help you." And she finds her little buddy, Mena, Menya. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's a little creature, right? And Riko has to smell the creature to climb the stairs, which makes no sense to people who don't know what the show's about. But when you hear the explanation, it's like, oh, okay. Only humans really get affected by the curse. Creatures that live here don't because of what they have. They don't have the organs that get affected by the curse. So the creature, it's climbing the stairs normally and it's chilling. It's doing perfectly fine. So Riko smells the creature and inhibits her senses for a little bit. So all she sees or is sense, like she smells it, is what I'm trying to say. So she climbs the stairs with Prushka, and we see that Reg was actually kidnapped by the scientists, and he was getting disassembled, discombobulated, and actually like dissected. And we see them rip off his arm. We see them have like a tube on his wiener, so it doesn't like. It's really nasty, by the way, really really nasty. But so he doesn't splash pee everywhere, and they're just dissecting him and all that. It's nasty. And then we go over to what's her face's side, Nanachi. We see her talking to Brundred or Bondred. There you go. And they're talking about like, oh, you should come back. You should come back and help me finish my study. We'll be done. We're close to finishing it. We're close. And she's like, she starts thinking about her buddies and Prushka. There you go, Prushka. And she's like, sure, I'll do it, but she's gotta promise me that you won't hurt any of them and they'll be able to go. And then he's like, oh yeah, about that. So I already started dissecting him. And then she starts rushing over to Reg, and that's how she finds out that he's getting bodied right now. And all that's going on. What did happen after that? Oh yeah, okay, so Prushka and Riko get there, they see that site, and then the Nachi shows up, sets Reg free, and they all start running. They lock up the room with the external lock, and they run all the way to a boat that Prushka takes them to. And she's like, all right, well, I mean, I know my dad's a good person, but I'm sorry for what he did to you guys. It was I didn't know about this. And she's like, next time as they start leaving, can I go on an adventure with you guys? And Rico, I think, was like, yeah, of course. So she doesn't answer. And then her father shows up and she's like, listen, this guy's going to be the one who's with you for a little bit. Stay close to him. And next we have Rico and the gang all just chilling outside trying to recover from the loss of Reg's arm since legit it got cut completely bisected. Or not bisected, but cut completely. So all he has is just like the bicep area. And they're trying to recover. They're trying to figure out what to do, and they figure out what to do. They come up with a plan, and it immediately cuts. I'll talk about that in a second later on, but it cuts to them in a cave. He shows up, and the plan goes into motion. They basically bait him into the cave where all the creatures are at, and they lock him in the cave. They go out. and they get ready for phase two since they know that that cave won't kill him. It was only to kill the goons that came with him. And so he walks out of the cave and they start boxing. It's Bondred versus Reg. They start beefing the entire time. And Nanachi's talking about how what's it called? He knows what she's going through because he has like a way to look through her vision and see what she's doing. It's a really weird, but he basically has insight on what she's doing, and so she can't be very clear about what the plan is. So she says things, but then has to do the other thing, basically. So subverting expectations is what she's doing, and they're doing that the entire time, and they managed to kill him, or at least so we thought, because then the scientist that was with Prushka, who was actually there at the battle, was him all along, and it turns out that he has a relic that basically transfers his consciousness to other bodies, and he's able to do that. So basically, it renders him immortal, excuse me. And now we learn all about that, and it leaves Reg and the group and all of them basically demoralized, completely demoralized, because Prushka thinks that her dad's dead, but then she goes over to him and he does that, and they go back over to the facility, and he's like, "I'll be waiting for you there, if you want to come anytime, and then we can hopefully start the procedures." And they're all demoralized, but through the power of remembering flashbacks, all that, they get back together, and they go in there with another plan. So Reg is gonna be in the electricity, the electric area of the facility, while Nanachi and Riko are the distractions. And they're basically going in peacefully while Reg is at the bottom. Reg is beefing with everybody, and he goes to the electrical parts, the electrical engineering, and he cuts some of the wires. But instead of just letting it dissipate, he absorbs the energy, and he starts tweaking. But then we go to Riko and Nanachi, and we see Menya again, the little bug, or not bug, but little fluffy creature that Prushka has, and Riko starts following her, or starts following it, while Nanachi goes after her too, because it was actually the right way. And we see a scene with her entering the lab and seeing all the cartridges, and this is basically what happens after Nanachi turns into a furry creature, right? So after Midi dies, or not Midi, not dying, more like Midi getting transformed and Nanachi gets transformed. She worked with Bone Dread for a long time, doing all the cartridges and learning what he's doing. And she was too scared to leave, so that's why she kept doing it until she actually left. And she learned what was going on, what she was using them for. Excuse me. And she sees these cartridges again and she explains what they are, and it's basically the children that Bone Dread kept getting. He put them into cartridges, like their organs, not vital organs, but like enough organs where they're still human or alive, and he puts them into cartridges so he can use them to get the blessing of the abyss, like how Nanachi has the blessing of the abyss, where she didn't die from the ascent. She just got turned into like a furry creature and all that. And she starts having a mental breakdown about it. And Rico's there to comfort her, and then Bone Dread shows up and he's just like, "Yo, what's up? So you want to work with me?" And then she's like, no." And then they start having this debate, and we learn that the whistles, the white whistles, not all the whistles, but the white whistles, the only reason they're needed to go down to the sixth layer, which is something I didn't explain. You need the white whistles to go down to the sixth layer, right? And white whistles are individual to the person. So if you have a white whistle and you're not the one who made it, you can't use it because it needs like the stone of or life reverberation stone or whatever it's called, where like someone needs to be sacrificed for the stone to be made, and that's how Liza Stone, Bone Dread Stone, all their stones were made, right? That's how or white whistles were made, is what I'm trying to say. You need someone with a will, like a strong will, to die, sacrifice themselves for the stone. and like actual love for the person who's about to use it. And that's how Bonedred got his, because we find out since he can clone himself, or not clone himself, but transport his consciousness, he sacrificed his original body to make the whistle. But he can't use the whistle because he himself, whenever he transfers his consciousness, he's considered dead. He's not alive. So he can't use it. And Liza, we don't know where she is, so Riko having her whistle doesn't matter. She can't use it. So that's why, white whistles are so important, because that's what allows you to go to the sixth level. You need the life reverberation stone, and they don't have it. So now they're at a stump. But going back to the present, they're learning all this information, and the relic that he uses, I forgot the name of it, but they're learning more about that and everything. And Reg was supposed to be the one, doing all the heavy lifting while they're the distraction, and the distraction worked. So he comes through, he busts through the door with a giant blast, like a repulsor beam blast, and that was super sick. And then he comes through, all that's going on there, and him and Bonedred start beefing. But like, Reg is in like his werehog type state, like his dark Sonic type thing. He's going through it right now. And he's just beefing with him. He's keeping up with Bonedred, but he's beefing with him. And oh, what's it called? They managed to blow up the facility because Reg was about to self-destruct the whole facility with him along and everybody else with it. But Nanachi manages to talk him down, so he only blows up the facility but keeps them safe. And it knocks him out of that state, that conscious state or the unconscious state. And he starts telling her like a bunch of people got absorbed into him when he took the electricity. And that's why he wasn't himself, because somebody was controlling him. And the other people that are there are helping him control his body, so he has better control of it now, and he's able to use it better. So he lands with Nanachi, and he's talking with her, and then Bodred comes out of nowhere, and he's just like, "Hey, what's up, buddy? Let's go down to the pit that you just made." Ahaha. And so they start falling down into the pit of corpses, the sea of corpses, which is why it's called that, the fifth layer. And it's all the creatures, all the kids that Bonedred made are turned into those creatures, into the creatures that lost their humanity. All of them are down there, and he remembers all their names. So it's like, on one hand, you have him who uses these kids for nefarious reasons, for quote unquote greater good, but you also have him who remembers their names and makes an effort to tell people, hey, these kids have names, they had aspirations and dreams. So it's like he's so conflicting and diabolical, it's crazy. But him and Reg start farting, fighting down in the pit, and they're beefing. The animation is going crazy. It's actually wild, and they manage to climb back up with how they're fighting, and we see that Bonedred had a tail before, so we had a feeling like or I had a feeling like, oh, he's a hollow just like a Nanachi, and he starts transforming more and more, so where he has more hollow parts, like all furry type of thing. And they get to the surface where Nanachi is again, and he starts transforming even more, and some of the cartridges fall out, and we see more of them, and he starts naming all of them. And the final one that falls out, he doesn't give them a name or give them a name yet, but then Menya comes up to that cartridge and starts licking the blood, and we realize this is Prushka, and then he says it himself, like, "Ah, you did a great job, Prushka." And it just destroys the main cast completely, because Riko still isn't even there yet. But where she is, we find out is she's behind a boulder ready for the plan, and she's just crying, like legit crying. And they're talking, and Reg is like, why would you do this to your own daughter, even though you're not related by blood? Like, you cared for her like your own child. And it goes to a flashback of Prushka and what she was, and it was one of the kids who was heavily traumatized by the ascent, like couldn't be used anymore type thing. And Bonedred was like, you know what? No, it's fine. I'll take care of her. And they regrew her hair. They helped her with all her damage and all that, mentally trying to help her, and she started growing. growing, growing into like the mental state, having it again. She tried to climb the stairs. She heavily felt the effects of the curse. She tried them again. She got Menya, and now Menya helps her climb the stairs and deal with the ascent. And she's just living and she's growing and she's learning. She's loving her father. She's learning more about the facility. She's just a child who's a child enjoying her childhood. And we get a flashback of her dad telling her like, "Yo, there's some people coming here. Be nice to them, all right? They're gonna help us out." And she's a little jealous because like, but you don't need them, you need me. But she learns later on like they're actually cool people. So that bond that she made with Riko and everybody, it was genuine and it meant a lot to her. And she feels her father's pain. She wants to help him out because she still loves him. But one thing that she says is that even though I'm helping you out, like I want one thing, and it's just for all of us to go on an adventure with Riko and her group, and it shows an image of all of them together going through the sixth surface or the sixth layer, and man, it's really sad, like really sad. But after that flashback, they start fighting again. Rek is keeping up, but not keeping up enough. Like he starts losing his edge, and he's on the floor. He's getting bodied. He tries to use one of his repulsor beams on him. He narrowly dodges like the orb piercer, and he has his claw stuck in his belly button because he knows like the navel is a weakness for humans, so it's the same weakness for him since he's modeled after them. And now that he's stuck grabbing the navel, Riko comes out and uses Reg's other arm that he has to just blast what's his face into oblivion, excuse me, completely obliterating his lower side, which he's still human, or at least like bordering human. He needs that to live, so he's blown away. He lands a little farther away. Nanachi goes over to him, and he's dying. He's completely dying, and they're talking. They're having one last conversation. And she's like, "Your ideals will die with you." And he's like, "Nah, I mean, you guys surpassed me and are going down to the sixth layer." All right, but yeah. So basically, he's like, his ideals will live on through her and all that, and she's proud of him, or he's proud of her. But this is emotional manipulation. I feel like there was a little bit of him that did care for her, but more like because she was his first successful experiment, not really out of love, but it's whatever. It's something that we will never know. But you know, he dies. They go over to Reg, and she's like, "Oh, well, I mean, you're alive." And he passes out for 2 hours since he used his beam like crazy. And he wakes up again. She's there, and they're talking like, "Oh, what happened?" And she's like, "Oh, they're still Umbra hands or Umbral hands alive. So basically his servants, and they can't really do anything because like they're chilling. They're legit just done. There's no way they can win." And Riko is over there crying, holding Prushka's suitcase. And we actually saw a dream from her of her seeing Prushka's death, and or not death, but more like amputation, where when it was going on, she was seeing it basically through her dream. And we saw like her have red marks all over her body, basically showing what the doctors have to dissect. And it was messed up, man. It was really messed up. Like, yikes, bro. But yeah, so now she's holding the suitcase in the present time, and she's crying. She's legit devastated because even though they didn't know each other for that long, they still made a friendship, a genuine bond. Alright, so spoilers up ahead, like skip like 20 seconds, 30 seconds up ahead, but so basically the this with Prushka is like with two shows, right? Like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood with the dog scene, and Jujutsu Kaisen with Itadori meeting that one kid and his mom and all that, It's like the show plays an expectation on you, and it messes with that expectation. It's diabolical, but it's storytelling, so it's good. But yeah, so it's Rico's still going through that. She's reeling through it, and they find something in the suitcase because uh she spits it out. She's still alive in there, but it's irreversible. It's legit irreversible. The technology's too far behind, and even then, even if technology was advanced enough, like she's legit just her organs and blood in there. It's there's no fixing that. So she spits out something, and it's the reverberation stone, the reverberation stone, excuse me. And it turns out that Riko and Prushka had such a close bond when they knew each other that she wants her to use her as the white whistle. And it's messed up, but it's what she wanted. She spit it out for a reason, you know? And they make it together. Now they have a white whistle and they can go on to the sixth layer. So they all get ready. Rico's still crying, but now she's eating too. And they look back at all the scientists that are still alive and they leave them there. They don't do anything with them. They go down to the sixth layer. And that's where season two will take place. That's where the sixth layer, the point of no return, takes place. So let me talk about the my opinions on this, right? So I was a little conflicted because on one hand I really like this movie, but on the other hand some parts I don't like that much. Like the beginning I thought was great because it has that Made in Abyss feel where you're just exploring the unknown. You don't know what you're gonna get yourself into. Like obviously you have the maps, prior knowledge since Nanachi was there, and you know just all information that you got from other people. But you yourself have never been there, so you don't know how to deal with that. Like yourself in your situation, it's gonna be different. So exploring the flower field and learning all about that area and the bugs and all that, it was super cool. It was awesome. And then you get to the facility and you're learning more about them as well, and now it's super sick as well. And then you get to the them escaping the facility, like the beginning all the way until the escape. I loved. I loved all of it. And then you get to the part where they're reeling from Reg losing his arm, and I feel like that part was a little rushed. Like them fighting him, or well, them leaving the area, and then all the way up until Bondred revives, and he goes back to the facility. I felt like that was a little rushed. I felt like it could have had more care put into it, especially with the plan that they made. Like I understand not explaining the plan because a bunch of shows have done that. Like Persona 5 has done that, you know, and other stuff like other games and shows where you don't explain the plan but you execute it and then you explain later on like, oh yeah, so the plan or whatever, like execute the plan. But I feel like they could have spent more time like talking about like, all right, so here's what we're gonna do. They don't have to explain the plan, but just go into a little bit more like before they go into to executing it because it was such a jarring transition from them struggling to them immediately being back up and ready to go. Like them struggling when they fought Bondred and then themselves picking up their spirits like that made sense because we saw it. But the transition from them seeing Reg lose his arm to them making a plan, it was really jarring. It was super fast. So it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I don't know about this one. But, you know, that area was like, to me. But then you get to the other area, and this one probably like is like the middle of the movie for me, like in terms of rating. The first part I really liked. The the middle part I didn't like much. And this part is like it's really good, but it's also kind of like in some places. So, you know, where they go back into the facility all the way until the end of the movie, like you have them going to the facility and Reg causing all the damage or whatever, and like Rico and Nanachi's side was better to me, while Reg's side we didn't see much of it until he showed up. But when he showed up, it was weird to me, right? Because this show never struck me as like a fighting type show, like a shonen type thing. Because obviously it isn't. It's like a fantasy like dark type thing. Like it has its dark moments, but all that. And him Reg fighting Bone Dread in his like that messed up controlled state or uncontrolled state, excuse me. just felt really weird to me. It felt really out of place because it never took the show to be like that type of fighting show. Obviously, like you have those moments where you see Reg shooting his laser and the orb piercer and all that, but those are animals versus a human, right? And you have Reg with his like solve all eraser cannon, but it's not an almighty powerful thing where you can use it the whole time. But then you have him here fighting Bone and it kind of turned into like a battle anime for a little bit. Yeah, I didn't know how to feel about that because it kind of felt out of place to me. So I was conflicted on that section. I don't know if I like it much, but the animation was great. I will say that the animation was great. It was just me personally how I felt about it. I didn't think like it fit too much because them battling, like that, it makes sense for them to fight, right? It makes sense. But the way that I guess it was animated. Not that the animation itself was bad, but more like it kind of came across as a shonen, which is something I wouldn't expect because they were kind of doing more fantastical feats than anything else, kind of like some One Punch Man feats, and it came really weird. It just came off really weird because then they were moving at hypersonic speeds type stuff. Like they were moving fast, fast, so it was a little weird. But it got better on. It got better later on. So with them fighting again, Bone Dread fighting him again, but this time Reg was in control. I like that better because it wasn't any like anime power type boost where he literally just got that darkness enhancement. So I like this section better, the second fight a lot better. But him blowing up the facility was really cool. I do like that a lot. And them fighting Bone Dread outside of the facility with the remains of it to the end of the movie was great. I really like that. It's up there with the beginning of the movie for me. So on one hand, I want to praise this movie, but on the other hand, I don't. But overall, like the praise does outweigh the parts that I don't like that much. And because of the flashbacks and the sad moments and the animation, the music, the voice acting, the the story, like I'm gonna just settle on it and say I'm going to praise it. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. At its worst, it's a 6, and at its best, it reaches the 9 that Made in Abyss movies 1 and 2 did reach. But I'm gonna give it an 8.5. Again, at its worst, it's a 6, but the good parts make up for that by a lot. So I'm gonna praise it. I'm gonna praise the movie. The good parts really affected me a lot, and the parts that I didn't like are just me talking about it. If you liked it, then then by all means, it's something that you should like alone. Or no, no, wait, well, not like that. If you liked it, then you liked it, all right? I'm not gonna judge you for it whatsoever. But this is just how I felt about it watching it, because that's the whole point of the videos, right? I'm just giving you how I feel about it, not how you should feel about it, because nobody can tell you that. But yeah, like overall, the story was great. I feel like for it being the fifth layer, there was only like a rough patch with them being outside and fighting him again, or fighting him for the first time, and then him explaining his power, his relic. Like that part was a little rough to me, but everything else is good. Like the story of the fifth layer and how much baggage it has is interesting. It's an interesting one that could make or break Nanachi's character and everybody else down here. Like because this is the most investment that she has in here. She had her character arc before, but now she had it even more. Like it's like Vegeta in Namek and then Vegeta in the Buu saga. Like it's like he's going through those changes, but then he has the final change at the end of it. It's like all right, that's what's going on. And here we have some nice moments. We have Riko getting more shine since last arc she didn't have a lot. She got way more shine this time. Reg got less of it because he was so important in the last one, and Nanchi got just the fair amount that she needed from compared to the last one because she got a lot last time, and now she got the same amount here, if not more. And it makes sense because this is basically her story, her part of it. So I'm not complaining about it. But characters are great. I have no problem with the characters. The side characters don't matter, so they're not even included. Yeah, Bondred, he's a really crazy, like, interesting character because he's like the evil that doesn't see that they're doing wrong because it's a admiral cause, quote unquote. But also like he's the calm maniacal type. He's not like the Joker where he's comically evil but good. like in it to watch. This dude is legit evil, but there's good in him that wants to do good for the greater good, and he doesn't care what he has to sacrifice for it. But like it's calmingly evil. That's the worst part. It's calmingly evil. So he doesn't notice it's wrong, and he won't notice that it's wrong. He won't raise your voice at you whatsoever if you go against his ideals. He's legit just like he would be a good person if his ideals weren't that messed up. That's what I'm trying to say. But you know, yeah, Prushka, who was nice, she was like she was kind of like Ozen's disciple, but it shows what a master, how much of a difference a master makes. When you have Ozen, you have Bone Dread. Like, Ozen's a little harder on their disciple, but they're still alive and they love each other for it. While Bone Dread was nicer to his disciple slash family, but he used her in the end. But they still love each other. Both of them love each other, but both of them love each other for different reasons, and both of them lived and died because of that. It's really interesting to me. It's really interesting. Like Bone Dread is an example of what the abyss can do to you, right? Whoa, and not just like the abyss itself, but also the relics. Like you notice like the creatures down here, they're all crazy, they're intuitive, they're smart, and they're for the most part they're just living for themselves. But like as you get further down, you start to notice like the more people you see, the more the abyss affects them. And like with Bone Dread, like I don't know what he was like in the beginning, but with the abyss down there, like he just got obsessed with his ideal, his ambition, to the point where he used the relic and lost himself, and he started transforming himself on purpose. And he used his own daughter, like from the very beginning, he used a little girl, transformed her into his daughter, and used her to the very end for his own means, for his own ambition, and masked it under the progression of humanity type thing. Like it's messed up. It's really messed up, and it's I would attribute it to the abyss, but also the relic of the abyss and just how it transformed him. Like it shows how the abyss can give and it can take. Like it gave Riko, but it also took Bone Dread's and sanity and all that, and it can take you humanity, literally and physically, or mentally and physically. It's messed up, man. It's legit messed up. But the main cast is good. There's not much of a change there. They have their character arcs, like Reg being dissected and all that. You have Nanachi and her character arc here, so this is her most important area. Or you have Riko, who's still a child. Like obviously all of them are children, but Riko, like the innocence of her going down there to see her mom, but realizing how messed up it is. Like she doesn't want to go back, but she just has to see like, yo, you can't mess around with the abyss. It's dangerous. It's real out here. Like it's crazy. But animation is great. Like legit, the animation is amazing. Better than the both first movies and second movie. Better than the anime season itself. Like this movie's animation is godly. It's amazing, bro. I can't stress that enough. It's amazing. But you know, music as always, it's amazing. It just hits whenever it wants to hit, and man, does it hit. But besides that, pacing, pacing, it felt a little weird. Again, like during that ice section where they were back outside, that pacing felt a little weird. But besides that, the first half and then the second half of the movie felt great. It's just that one middle part, or first, third, and third. Oh, good. The first third and then the last third of the movie felt great. The middle, the second third felt kind of wonky in pacing, but it's fine. Honestly, it's fine. I watched it, and my opinion on it still hasn't changed. But yeah, with all that, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about this movie. Which one was your favorite? First one, second one, third one? Like for me, still has to be the second one because the second one is just it shows how much of a different breed this show really is. The third one, it's kind of like the first one where like it's good, but it's not like the second one. The second one is just a different cutlet above, bro. Completely different. But next, I'm gonna be talking about the second season once I'm done watching that. So it might be a little break between these videos of Made in Abyss, but I've enjoyed it. I've wholeheartedly enjoyed it. So thank you all for watching as always. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll check you all out. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this movie, how you feel about the show in general, and like who your favorite character is. Let me know. Oh, it's not raining, but sir, what do you mean? It's not raining. It's raining, Lieutenant. But yeah, so I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I'll check y'all out. Until then, this has been Infamous Isaac. Made in Abyss Season 2 coming soon. Peace.